So those huge brine pools that you see, if you ever look at photos of a fracking operation, those huge pools that you see, they just basically put a facility next to it, and then they pump the water through it, and they they extract the lithium directly from that solution. It's taken a really, really long time for some reason to perfect the filtration method and make it economical, but they're doing it now at like $3,000 to $4,000 a ton. And so lithium, even though prices have collapsed, even they're down to like $19,000, $20,000 a ton now, it's still hugely profitable to do direct lithium extraction,
Right.
and it gives pretty much any oil and gas company sort of an immediate sort of side hustle. Like they can put one of these facilities on any of their oil and gas producing properties, and boom, suddenly they're making lithium.
All right, welcome to the Angel Research Podcast. My name is Jason Freert. I am here today with Alex Koyfman. I've been looking forward to getting you back on the podcast. Welcome, Alex.
Happy to be here.
I'm sure you are. You look very happy to be here. So before we get into some other stuff, we got to talk about Bitcoin ETFs, right?
Uh-huh.
Have you followed this at all? Are you a Bitcoiner? Are you a crypto guy?
I mean, I've been kind of bitten by that whole market a couple times too many, and so
You buy some shit coins?
I've done that, but I've bought some mainstream ones also, and I don't think it's my cup of tea. I know that things are coming back, and now we're thoroughly out of like the mania phase of the market, which I think really the last 10 years probably, well, close to
Right.
already 10 years has
Right.
been. And it's getting to the point where, it's been mainstream for long enough that, we probably are going to start seeing, the true long-term rise of this market. But no, I'm not, I myself do not participate.
You're not participating? Yeah, I think, right before we got on here, I think it was at 48,000. So yesterday they officially approved, I think, about 10 or 11 Bitcoin ETFs. I think some of which were like
So are you getting
BlackRock.
in? Are you getting in?
I've been in.
So are you getting in more?
I'm just waiting. So, yeah, I think we'll probably hit new all-time highs probably by the end of the summer, probably. But it also has to do with the halving, which is, I think in April and election year, like a lot of it just tends to go into that trend. So, and then there'll be a bunch of scammers that
So
come out.
it's basically a split, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Educate me. Why don't you
Educate
me?
you. So the difficulty is, and maybe we'll talk about mining later, but the difficulty of mining a Bitcoin is going to be cut in half in April something.
So that's how they're going to solve that problem, like the exponential rise in energy consumption.
Right. Well, it'll take more energy to mine a Bitcoin, but because of the demand in it, more people are mining, so the competition is there. It's a self sort of actualization. It's
Like
pure economics.
Another bubble.
Yeah, it's very possible.
Yeah.
So, but it is news, and I've been liking to start out the episode addressing some of getting everybody's opinion on the latest news in the market.
I view it, again, as a total layman. I view it with skepticism because I don't understand it well enough.
Yeah.
And I honestly don't know if I've met too many people that do understand it well enough to make me confident in any of their opinions either. And so I've heard plenty of, it's gone every way. It's gone every way since the beginning of the whole thing. So, I don't know. I'm probably not going to risk anything on it.
I think that's a fair assessment, and I think that's how most investments should probably be, right? Like, don't just throw money into an investment without knowing somewhat about it. The biggest reason people give me for investing in crypto is that it's going up.
Yeah, right, exactly. You should be selling.
Yeah.
Pretty much. But the hype factor these days is playing a larger and larger role in the valuation of any asset. and I think you'll agree. So
Right.
whether it's real estate or something digital, the hype factor plays such a big role that maybe that is,
Well, the FOMO, right?
Sure.
Fear of missing out.
Yeah.
So you hear about it or read about it on the internet, and you know somebody that invested in it and made a lot of money, and then all of a sudden
all right,
you're like,
there's a
I want to
sucker
do that.
born every minute
I want to
feed
do
into
that.
it.
Yeah. And you'll feel like an idiot for missing out, or you missed out the first time, and you're like, I'm not going to miss out this
Yeah.
time.
I remember back, was it like 2017, back in the old office,
Yeah.
and we had a developer in the office who bought Ethereum at like $30.
Yeah.
And he bought a lot of it. And I remember the FOMA then, just watching and calculating in my head what this kid is going to walk away with. And I was just like, fuck me. And then I thought I missed out then. That was, 7 years ago now almost. So,
Right.
Yeah, I've gotten older and wiser, I think. And I'm just going to stick to things that I do understand, at least a little tiny bit.
Well, let's talk about things you do understand then.
Okay.
First, it's a new year. Did we wash our hands of any investments for 2023? Kind of, the end of the year is a big, what they call tax loss selling.
Sure.
You get rid of your losers, so you
Yeah.
can write those off, and you potentially let the winners ride. Were there any investments sectors that you sort of threw in the towel on, or just took your gains and you're like, okay, I'll revisit that later?
Let me think. Well, I mean, yeah, if we're taking huge losses, I think that there was a.
We'll start with your losses, then we'll get to your
yeah,
winners.
I think that there was plant-based protein play that we had to let go. There might have been a psychedelic play from way back when that we had to let go. These are companies that were sort of long shots to begin with, and some do rise, and are kind of they use the tide of the market as well as some kind of actual some legitimacy, and some fail, and so psychedelics. We may have had a copper mining play that I had to let go of. Yeah.
It's the time to do it. It's a new year, new portfolio.
And we're not going to rebuy or anything like that.
Right.
So the tax wash rule also.
What's that?
If you rebuy in the first 30 days after the new year, then everything you're not going to take the tax loss. The IRS is going to sniff you out, and
really?
Yeah, you have to keep it sold for at least 30 days.
Okay, I had no idea about this.
Yeah, well, I'm not a tax expert, but
right, this isn't tax advice. Just like this isn't
Yeah.
investment
Yeah.
advice. Consult your whatever.
Tax wash. Tax wash sale.
Okay, tax
So
wash sale.
good
Yeah,
luck.
I was unfamiliar with that. So you have, let's just break this down. You have a 20% loser, or let's just say you've lost. Let's put it in dollar terms. You've lost $10,000 on an investment in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, all right, I don't really think this is going much of anywhere. I'm going to sell it, realize your gains, because taxes don't come into an effect until you realize your gains.
Or losses.
Unless they change some sort of rule about taxing unrealized gains. If they do pass a rule where you're taxing unrealized gains, would they then allow you to write off unrealized losses?
I don't think so. No. They never like make it also good for you. It's all about taking.
Okay, so
go on.
10,000. So you lose $10,000 on a stock. You sell it. You can write off, so to speak, that as a loss against, presumably you have winners.
Some other gains.
So say another stock you made 20,000 on. So then that lowers what you're going to be taxed on by
10 grand.
By 10 grand. But if you bought that stock that you bought, you buy it within 30 days of the new year, or when you sold it. So what if you sold it in October? I know you're not a tax expert.
Then yeah, then.
Oh, then it would be
in that
more than
case,
30
yeah,
days.
yeah,
Then it would
yeah,
be
yeah.
more than 30 days.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
It's just that people tend to sell closer to the new year.
Yeah.
These people who are going to run that scam, of like I take the tax loss and then I rebuy thinking that it's it's still a good price for the stock and
Yeah.
then write it up again. So
Gotcha. Okay.
I mean, it's not a crime unless you don't unless you don't reflect that in your taxes and let
Right.
the IRS figure it out for you. So in
Right.
that case, you'll probably get fined.
Gotcha.
We're not
Okay.
experts here. We're just
No, but
own.
I was not familiar. I don't think I have ever done that personally. But it is something to be considered as it comes to the end of the year. You're like, all right, well, I'll sell this off and take the write down on it and then maybe invest later. So as long as you wait 30 days, you're not going to be a tax wash victim.
Well,
I guess.
Or you just don't take the deduction. So that's the other option.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. Why would you do that? Why would you not take the deduction?
Well, because you broke the tax wash rule.
Okay.
So.
All right, so that's interesting. So turning to 2024 then.
Yeah.
We had our predictions episode, so I don't want to rehash anything we discussed on that. But what are we looking at for positioning in here? I know we got nuclear. I know we got lithium was a big topic last time.
Yeah, I mean, nothing has really changed there. With nuclear, there's a lot of good catalysts coming up. One of them being specifically that we're getting off of Russia as a source of uranium in the next 4 years.
Is that the megawatts program or whatever? Where we
well,
buy
I mean,
their.
I think that ended a while ago.
Okay.
Yeah, this is just standard mining trade. So we're for obvious diplomatic reasons we're getting off of that. So the U.S. is going to have to make up for a good bit of refining practice, and so we've got already actually in the Crow's Nest portfolio. Brand new addition. I'm not going to mention anything, but
all subscribers only.
Yeah.
Okay.
Subscribers only. So this is good. This is the first new uranium refining operation to open in the U.S. in almost 70 years. So it's kind of a big deal, and hopefully it'll mark a new trend.
Right.
So there's that. Lithium, it's still super cheap, so I think it's going to keep growing for a while. At least until the end of the decade. We're probably going to have a pretty strong lithium market for a number of catalysts. I don't think we need to get into everything, but, everything from your phone to your car.
Right.
In between.
Yeah, I think people are pretty well familiar with that story these days, is that batteries run the world.
Right.
They're adding new and better batteries. Everything's electric these days. And lithium is the main component for a lot of these
for
batteries.
better or for worse, and it's been under fire a lot.
Literally.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Now let's talk about that for a sec. Is that still going on? Because, I mean, we've talked about the fire mishap we had at our old office with the hoverboard with the basically exploding. But I mean, these are serious things that are happening in big cities. Lithium battery fires, like burning down apartment buildings and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's usually, first of all, they're not that common. I think, like in New York, they got up to something like 5 per week. Like that was. I mean, it's a city of how many millions of people, and
right?
Something like 25,000 e-scooters. And a lot of these e-scooters are being serviced by people who don't have licenses, and the batteries are refurbished, and they're refurbished cheaply, and it's all just like a tertiary market out there. And so those are the ones that are catching fire most often. Or as the one in our office is just shoddy, cheap manufacture. So
yeah,
I think that's becoming less and less common. And when it comes to, I don't know how phones aren't going up in flames, 50 times a day across the U.S. I just don't understand it. If lithium was dangerous at all, that's what we would be seeing.
Right.
Because there's so many goddamn phones. There'd be planes falling out of the sky constantly if lithium was that big of a problem, but that's not happening. So it's really, it's a bunch of headlines.
Yeah.
And it's a crappy argument against it. I think that the arguments against it are, if there's a better option or not. That's really it. That's it. And the market has to decide that. And there are options that are kind of coming around. We kind of touched on this before, vanadium. That's something cool right now that we're going to be focusing on in 2024. And so,
What exactly is vanadium?
vanadium is a metal, and so this battery is called the Vanadium flow battery, and I'm not even going to try to get into the science behind it because I barely understand it. But I understand the end result, and the end result is you get a battery that has absolutely zero electrolyte fire risk. So that just it's physically impossible because it's a water based. So that's a huge thing that will calm all the lithium fire fanatic critics out there. And actually, there's a really cool chart that I gave to Sarah. If you could put it up on the screen, this shows the economy of the vanadium battery versus the lithium battery. So over the course of a vanadium battery lifetime, which is something like 25 years, it delivers 4 times as many kilowatt hours of energy back to the user overall, because the lithium batteries fail much quicker, and they're better initially, but their lifespan is, what their lifespan is, just based on when your phone starts to become crappy at charging. It's
Right.
3 or 4 years, several hundred charge cycles. Vanadium batteries have charge cycle life expectancy into the thousands, like into the tens of thousands, and maybe even hundreds of thousands. It's just not a limiting factor at all. The problem with vanadium batteries is that their energy density is low, so low that you wouldn't be able to really conveniently carry one around in your pocket, and it would make electric cars way too heavy. So their main application is large-scale energy storage.
Right.
So like renewables, essentially.
So that makes sense. Like these industrial, like an industrial battery.
Huge batteries with a lifespan that reflects the lifespan of whatever resource is powering it, which is 25, 30 years. So
Okay, interesting. That
huge
makes
market for that.
Yeah, that of course. I think that's always been kind of the knock on renewables and the scalability is like, hey, wind and solar. So it's the sun's not out at night, and what do you do when the wind is not blowing?
Sure.
And you need to sort of capture and store that energy for later use.
Yeah.
And so you're saying vanadium batteries sort of addresses that because they last longer. Because you also don't, you know what I mean? You don't want to have these massive batteries out there that are presumably expensive to install and create and have them run out.
Right. Yeah. So that is one of the issues: is that their initial cost of initiation, their cost of initiation is higher, and so vanadium is more expensive to mine. But because it lasts so much longer, in the long run, there's really no comparison. It's superior to lithium, and it's an infrastructural investment, right? Like we have power grid problems in this country, and these gigantic batteries, they're power grid support. Like they take the load off of the power grid to an extent by creating these sort of isolated, distributed energy storage centers. And so, yeah, the market for that is huge. Hopefully there's going to be a lot of federal investment and stuff like that. But vanadium is the way to go, and it's the way to make it last long. And so I found a nice company and this is Microcap Insider, a nice company that kind of captures the essence of all this. They produce these batteries.
Okay,
It's
so they're a
$90
battery
million
producer.
$90 million company, so it's already getting to the point where it can be called stable. But
Okay.
yeah.
Is that officially a microcap or what you call
It's
it,
still
a
a
nano
microcap. Well,
nanocap?
No, it's definitely not a nanocap. It's a microcap.
Okay.
Microcap. almost halfway to small cap.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
So
So you want to get in before it becomes a small cap.
yeah, that's where all the money is made.
Okay.
I mean, that's where we were just talking about this. Whoops, sorry. People who are buying because the price is going up. No, you buy it when the price is low.
Yeah.
You sit back and bask in the euphoria of the price exploding when you already own it.
Right.
That's what you should be doing.
It seems simple, but yet again, we're here talking about buy low, sell high.
It's the most fundamental.
Buy before the hype and news cycle. Sell, the whole sell the news aspect of it.
Buy when people are terrified to buy. Buy
Right.
when they're panic selling.
It is very hard to do, right? There's like it's just you're like, everybody else is doing this, I should be doing it. So you follow the crowd.
It's hard, but it's simple, though.
Yeah.
All it takes is to remember, when there's blood in the streets, that quote, the famous quote, when there's blood in the streets, even if it's yours, that's when you buy.
Yeah.
That's when you back up the truck, as they say. And nobody knows what that actually means. But
Well, you back up the truck and you load up.
it's the old
stuff.
joke. Or you unload.
You unload?
Yeah. If you're backing the truck up when you're making a big investment, it means you're kind of dumping all the cash into
Okay,
something.
so the cash is in the truck, and you're backing
yeah,
the
yeah.
truck up, and you're dumping the cash, and you're buying the stock.
Or
Is
are
that-
you loading up with stock?
That's what I thought. I thought you back up the truck.
That
And
makes
then you
more
put it-
sense. It's
okay.
more direct.
All right. We'll have to get to the bottom of this. All right. So vanadium.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a battery manufacturer. So
They
these guys,
they actually produce.
they actually, but they aren't mining the vanadium.
No.
How do you even find vanadium? Like, what kind of is
It's
it
the same.
similar
It's
to
like,
lithium?
It's hard mining is the primary method of just like lithium, just like any metal. It's hard mining. It's not. It's there are other ways like direct extraction, which we can also talk about if you want to. But if you want to. But anyway, vanadium primarily hard mine. The problem with vanadium is that there's a huge demand for it elsewhere, and one of those markets is steel refining. And so, if you needed to refine steel, the supply is going to be obviously limited. So,
Right.
you're going to need a new source to cover something like a battery revolution.
Right. So I'm just curious because I don't even know where you find. Like, I shouldn't say I'm very familiar with lithium, but vanadium is not something you.
We can cover the nature of vanadium in the series of editorials.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, because I think that this is a good big idea. I think generally.
Right.
So it could be a medium cap company also.
Right.
Potentially.
Okay. I'll look forward to that. So extraction. I know we talked about this briefly. Is vanadium something that will be extracted using this direct extraction?
Well, I haven't heard about that yet because
Right.
they're just getting into direct lithium extraction. And
Right.
lithium has been, kind of a huge.
And so the idea around that is they're basically extracting it from the brine that they're using for any number of things, geothermal or fracking.
Fracking. So those huge brine pools that you see, if you ever look at photos of a fracking operation, those huge pools that you see, they just basically put a facility next to it and then they pump the water through it, and they extract the lithium directly from that solution. It's taken a really, really long time for some reason to perfect the filtration method and make it economical, but they're doing it now at like $3,000 to $4,000 a ton. And so lithium, even though prices have collapsed, even they're down to like $19,000 to $20,000 a ton now, it's still hugely profitable to do direct lithium extraction,
Right.
And it gives pretty much any oil and gas company sort of an immediate sort of side hustle. Like they can put one of these facilities on any of their oil and gas producing properties, and boom, suddenly they're making lithium.
Right.
So they're playing both sides of the of the carbon/decarbon.
And they're just partnering with these companies that is just like, hey, we have this resource, come in or license the technology or
like
whatever.
Franchise, some kind of that kind of relationship where they.
So they're not like
royalties.
buying these, the technology and like building their own facility using it. It's just this other company comes in and extracts out the lithium and they get a cut because it's like
Well, I cannot say anything specific about any of those kinds of details, but and I don't know actually. I don't know any of them, but if I did, I don't think I'd be able to say any of that anyway. But that's the idea, some kind of mutually beneficial setup where somebody makes royalties, somebody does the work.
Gotcha.
So,
all right, that sounds very interesting. And so is it being deployed at all yet?
there is a pilot program in place.
Okay.
It's making lithium.
Okay.
And so now it's just a matter of scaling and I think it's a super exciting company. They keep a low profile. They don't do a lot of kind of senseless headlines, which I see a lot of companies in their positions do. I mean, you know how it is. It's still a Canadian company, so but they're actually pretty discreet, and I appreciate that. So if you want to check it out, we call it black lithium because it's a sort of an oil-derived lithium.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a Microcap Insider.
it is.
All right.
Microcap Insider.
All right, we'll post the link below for people to check that out. So vanadium, lithium. What else we got? We got to go with 3. There has to be a third trend that's coming down.
I guess we can throw graphene in there. That's kind of the obvious choice.
Yeah, I have. I sent this to you. There's a lot of interest in
Yeah, I know.
your
I know.
graphene.
I know.
Explanation.
It's
I
coming
guess.
around. It's coming around.
But what's interesting about this, and I don't know if you are familiar with this, but a lot of people are saying that there's graphene. Like they think that people are being poisoned by graphene. Is there something to this? Are they confused? Is this a conspiracy theory?
I think that when you've made it, when people like
No.
that start saying shit like that about you.
Yeah.
So graphene has arrived.
Graphene has arrived because
Yeah.
people say it's dangerous.
Yeah, because you get.
I don't understand.
I haven't. Who's been saying this?
I don't
Are
know.
these
Just
serious people?
comments on the internet.
Just some random.
Just
fuckwad
random.
On,
just random people on the internet.
I think it means it's mainstream.
Yeah, of course. And so the main application I think that you've been investigating is utilizing it in batteries. Is that correct?
Batteries.
But I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of cool shit you can do with it.
Well, the company that I was covering for the batteries is just one of their products. They actually make graphene, and I think that their main product is actually the graphene production method that they've come up with, because before it was like $3,200 an ounce to produce, which was like twice as much as gold at the time, back in like the mid 2010s. So it was super expensive, right? But now it's made. They have a process where they just take electricity and natural gas, and they do something magical to it, and they get some of like the highest quality graphene that there is out of it, and they make graphene powders for various commercial applications, and they make batteries, and they make graphene coating, and they can probably make graphene for anything, really. So, still a great company, and it's kind of declined a little bit over the last several months, but it's still totally valid. And
it's a very interesting, because you hear it coming out more and more. Just because of the properties that it's had. And there's even, I think some of these material sciences get wrapped in with, quote unquote UFO technology, or like recovered, craft that might have sort of exotic materials.
Yeah.
And, so some people, I mean, is there a main application that is sort of the holy grail for graphene? Or is it really just like this magic mineral because they say it's like strong, like it's super strong.
Well, the thing is, it's super adaptable. You can do almost anything with it based on how you layer it. This stuff is produced in a single molecule thick layers, which means that the way you layer it or weave it, or it gives you
different properties.
Yeah, and so what's the holy grail? I mean, I don't know, like cars, airplanes, anything really, because it'll be lighter, stronger, which means that in car accidents, your car will weigh half as much. So that's half as much energy during a car accident that gets transferred into whatever you're hitting, right? So that automatically makes them superior for safety. It takes less energy to accelerate them, takes less energy to brake. Same thing for airplanes. Imagine an airplane that's 1/3 the weight that it is with aluminum.
Right.
So,
but it's stronger.
But stronger, yeah.
Yeah, so, it almost doesn't make sense, right?
It's aluminum is natural. It's a natural element. This is something that's completely created by man, and it's engineered to do whatever we want with it. And so I think it's kind of it makes a little bit of sense. I don't know what they're going to achieve with it, but
Yeah.
I think it's cool that they're semiconductors, and there's a potential to make computers like 5 times faster
Yeah.
because they cool. Just cooling with graphene, that alone just changes the ballgame for chip design. It's pretty intense.
Yeah. That's
10
interesting.
years.
We've been following the graphene story for a while, and it
Yeah.
always feels like, okay, next year, like the graphene's gonna be in.
Look, it's
but they're actually producing this stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty mainstream. Like it's so cheap now. Like I said, this Australian company, and they're not alone. They're producing it for. I mean, it's like orders of magnitude less than before, and cheap enough to make industrial coatings.
Mm-hmm.
So in a couple of years, they're gonna have like graphene sneakers probably. And,
All right, I like that. This is actually something that I've wondered, and I know a lot of our subscribers are always interested. A lot of the companies that you recommend, you said that one's Australian, the other one's a Canadian.
Yeah.
They aren't necessarily your typical, NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange companies.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, they're microcaps.
They're microcaps. And so how much more hoops do you have to go through to buy these?
No more hoops.
No more hoops.
This company, the Australian company, is, first of all, it's like $150 million market cap now, so it's pretty serious. In size, it's not just like some joke stock. It's for real. But it's trading in Canada, despite being Australian. It's trading in Canada and it's trading in the U.S. on the OTC, which means you can buy it. Any online brokerage that you would use to buy any other stock.
Okay.
No more hoops.
No more hoops.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. I think that about wraps it up. Is there anything else you want our readers or subscribers to know?
No, I mean they can. They can tune in and
they can tune in. You have recently taken over the Crow's Nest.
I have. Yeah, I'm very very excited about that. I get to look at companies that are in the next stage of development after the ones covered in Microcap Insider. So we kind of pick up at the $200 million plus valuation range, and then all the way up to all the way up to like $2 billion-ish, and which is also a great spot because this is for people who prefer their stocks a little bit de-risked, but still with plenty of upside potential.
Right. It's always been good because you've definitely, and we've talked about this before, you definitely focused on high risk, high reward investments.
Yeah. I'm getting older.
What does that have to do with it?
You're kind of getting more a little just.
I thought you get less risky as you get older.
Well, yeah. Well, the Crow's Nest is less risky.
Okay, gotcha.
That's what I'm talking about.
I gotcha. So you're getting older, so you're going to focus on more stable companies
bit,
in the Crow's Nest, and then you're still going to have your other sort of high flyers.
Yeah, I'm going to probably have those
in the Microcap Insider.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this before, but portfolio allocation in this realm is important, right? Because you talk about, hey, this graphene company or this, vanadium battery manufacturer, those are the ones you focus on in the Microcap Insider. That's not to say you should be putting, 100% of your...
You can do whatever you want,
I guess, yeah, you can,
look,
right?
I've taken huge risks on single, really unstable, as you call them, companies before. And
I wouldn't call them unstable.
It's less stable than the ones that are much bigger.
Right.
About that, and it's really kind of not for everybody to do that. You have to figure out what you want. We're not here to advise you on asset allocation. I think the natural thing to do for most people would be to minimize your exposure to those small stocks just to as much as you can stand to lose on them. That's it. Just expect that outcome, and you'll always be happy in the end.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Never invest more than you can afford to lose.
Yeah, and then
I think that pretty much goes for anything, right? Although, people have retirement accounts and all that kind of stuff that they might have, invested in a I don't know, a mutual fund or something like that. But if you're playing with these nano cap or microcap stocks, it shouldn't be with money that you're accounting on for your.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not, that doesn't sound like good decision making to me.
No, it doesn't. But it's incredible that we have to even say that.
Why are we
to
saying
people.
that? Like, has that been coming up or something?
No, I just, I
All right. Well,
just want to be aware.
Okay.
I just want people to be aware.
No, I mean, look, we're not giving advice here. Just when you're doing something stupid. I think everybody gets that little twinge of adrenaline, that's exciting at the same time, but that excitement is not going to be worth it, and that's when it becomes dumb.
Yeah.
As soon as you pay more than you get back.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Whatever. We went off on a tangent there.
All right. I agree. I think we're just about done.
All right.
And thanks again for coming on. And we'll link to how you can join Alex's services, the Crow's Nest, Microcap Insider, and there also is the First Call, which is yours. There's a super elite.
Super elite.
Super elite.
That's a whole different subject. We can't get into that now.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So, all right. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Definitely comment too, and because I really enjoy reading the comments. And
right. Well, you're not the one getting insulted ever. It's always
that's
the guy
not
sitting
true.
across
Not
from
true.
you.
Not true. All right. Thank you.